Welcome back to the F1 2017 career mode here, guys. We're here for the USA Grand Prix, and our development has failed. And that's just great. It's exactly what you want to see, but the fuel consumption part has been fitted to the car, so we're going to be a bit easier on the fuel going forwards. But yeah, that drag upgrade, I was kind of looking forward to that. Again, it was only a minor one, but just anything to help us out on the straights, pull out some of that slipstream, because again, we have got a big old straight. In fact, a lot of the tracks going forward do have like a big old straight. Obviously, you've got this one, the big old back straight going into the braking zone, the left-hander at the end of the second sector. Then you've got Mexico, which is just all the straights in the known universe. Brazil, you've got the run out of the final corner up there, and then obviously Abu Dhabi's got the big old straight as well. So that upgrade could have really benefited us, but alas, I digress. USA Grand Prix, not one of my favourites on the calendar, and I've made the lovely mistake again of running my practice engine in qualifying. I was trying to, at the time, I was blitzing through recording sessions to obviously get Season 2 finished, and I think I was just making silly little mistakes. But anyway, we go on to our first flying lap, and we are going to head up towards Turn 1, a very interesting one, very much uphill, so you can really leave the braking quite late, like 100 metre board brake, and obviously the uphill gradient will allow you to get the car slowed down nicely into Turn 1. We're just accelerating through the right hander, trying not to scrub off any speed through the steering or as little as possible. Then it's just the fast rights and lefts, just allow him to drop down to 7th gear. Then I hugged it really tight on that right hander to try and give myself the best setup for the left hander, and then the uphill right. The AI is very strong through this specific section just there. So Alonso sets the fastest time of a 34.2. We'll see how that's holding up against him as we come to the end of the second sector. Again, downhill braking for this one. Now, that corner's a bit weird. You can leave the braking at the 50 metre board. You think you're going to overshoot, but it's just so wide. You can continue scrubbing off speed and still hit the apex. But here we go, charging down that long back straight. As I mentioned here, speed trap coming up. We're going to be doing 199 miles an hour across the speed trap. Once again, 100 metre board braking down, kissing the apex nicely on the left-hander. On the acceleration, we are down on Alonso. We are 1.1 down on Fernando as Bottas goes a second faster than Fernando there. So clearly the pace is with the Mercedes as we go through the complex. The left-hander, the back end always wants to kick itself out just there, but now accelerating through the mock Turn 8 from those of you that remember the Istanbul circuit in Turkey. And then we have the fast left-hander, a very difficult one to get right. We've run a little bit wide on exit, scrubbed off a bit of speed. We're going to come through the final corner again, just running a bit wide, carried too much speed, went very wide, and didn't allow me to get the power down. And that's going to put us P7 behind Hulkenberg and ahead of one Lance Stroll. But I knew I had more to give, because by the time everything shook out, that was 16th place, and I knew I could do better. So you can see there we're a little bit up, sort of the times fluctuating as we go through the first sector there, but just showing if you get it right through that section, you've got so much time to make up, as it's now half a second as we come through the second sector split. We are coming up behind Fernando, who, as we just mentioned, is P5, so let's hope he doesn't impede the rest of the lap. Get the final corner a hell of a lot better. Took a big old chunk out the chicane, not the chicane, just the curb, and it puts us P12. I'm fairly respectable of that P12. Obviously, it was lower by the time qualifying all shook out. Especially as well, like I say, we were running our practice engine, which is a mistake on my part. But Fernando being faster than both Red Bulls, very impressive stuff from him. We're down in 14th place. But, you know, yeah, just again that, you know, let's run the practice engine in quali. I wasn't paying attention, I'll be 100% honest. So I'm figuring with this one, we'll just put all of column 4 components in the car. That will be for just everything going forward. So the USA Grand Prix and Mexico, and then we can run components 5 for Brazil and Abu Dhabi. So once again, it's the one stop. It's given us so much success and allowed us to claw so far up the grid. While we run anything else, we're going to go from supers to regular soft compound tyres here as we build with the lights. 5R on, 5R out, and away we go for the Grand Prix of USA. Kvyat's had a good start. He's managed to put it down the inside of Grosjean. We're going to look to the inside. Very wide turn 1, so I didn't really want to go steaming in, causing any kind of problems. Fernando's already lost 3 places. We are side by side with Perez, and obviously Alonso there battling with Esteban Ocon. So both McLarens dicing with the Force Indias, but Alonso has come out horribly off that start, down 3 positions. He was sort of pushed to the outside and left hung out to dry, and we're just getting it all wrong through this through this opening section, so we need to try and get it settled down, as we are and now up with the runners who are going to be running the ultra soft tyre, so they're going to have the grip advantage, but those tyres are going to wear out faster than ours. Let's see what we can do coming out of this chicane. Alonso's potentially going to come under pressure from Sergio Perez, and in fact we haven't been able to stick with him. Perez by the end of lap 2 has got past Alonso. I am creating a new track, it would appear, out of the penultimate corner. It's just such a hard one to get right. The corner itself, the apex, is very blind, so you just sort of have to just sort of chuck it in and hope for the best, really. It's a corner that I do struggle with, and I kind of struggle with pace in the race, as we can see here as we come to the end of lap 5. My best laps are 39.4. I mean, we're consecutive and we're consistent with our pace, but we're just dropping back. I don't have the pace to stick with the front guys. And this was an issue I actually found in F1 2016 as well. I just don't appear to have race pace around here, which is frustrating, you know, especially when you've committed to the one stop. You've got 2 very long stints to commit to, knowing that you're not going to be able to make up any time with an undercut. But is what it is at the end of the day. So we're going to be looking in our mirrors and fighting for the tail end of the points, but alas, points do mean prizes at the end of the season. We are still in contention for 3rd place in the Drivers' World Championship there. And what's going to happen here, as we've got a little bit of train forming behind us, is now come to lap 8. One of the cars ahead has made a pit stop. The front runners are now making those stops for the ultra soft tyre. So again, we're further back from Alonso, who is making his pit stop on lap 8. So he is, I'm not too sure if he's going to fit the soft tyre and go for a one stop with a very long second stint, or if he's going to go for the 2 stop. I want to see what he puts on if we can. Super softs, I think, but you can see the Hamilton coming out the pits. I believe he was our de facto race leader. So by the end of lap 8, he's already pulled a pit stop on me. He did compromise his line into turn 1 just there. We're going to see a bit of a replay of that just here. Hamilton coming out of the pits, obviously failing to get up to speed. Doesn't really swing it out too much, and just pinched himself on the exit. Didn't really allow him to get any kind of traction. So that puts him behind me. And really, we're just kind of disrupting his race for the sole purpose of it gave me something to do. As on lap 9, obviously on his fresh ultra softs, going for the 2-stop strategy. Hamilton pulls to the inside. We squeeze him, and then I realised I kind of squeezed him a bit too much. We kind of got to give him the space there. We're in the middle of the road as we come to the right-hander. I'm not going to give him any quarter. Of course, give him the room to turn in, but don't make it easy for him. Compromise his traction, and Hamilton now sits behind us. Realistically, I realised I wasn't actually doing my championship hopes any kind of good at this point, because it's going to allow the Ferraris to get ahead of Hamilton, and they are my main competition. But like I say, this sort of just gave me something to do. As Danny Rick is coming out the pit lane on the soft tyre, so is Sebastian Vettel. So he's going to the end on the soft tyre, whereas Hamilton, of course, has to make an additional pit stop. He once again can't get through, and he's come out behind Sebastian Vettel. So everything has all kind of worked out as I stated it was going to. Hamilton once again going to come on this back straight, coming under attack. There's Raikkonen just behind him as well, so can we, you know, maybe help Ferrari out? I mean, it doesn't make any sense for the championship, but I prefer them as a team to Mercedes, and I definitely prefer almost anyone over Lewis Hamilton. Squeeze him really tight, just shocking driving, I'll say, from myself there. Going into that left-hander, it did allow Hamilton to have a little look down the inside, myself going wide, then gave him another opportunity. I was just, I'll be honest, I was just purposely being a bit of a dick to Hamilton at this point, really. Just for the sake of it, to keep my own race a little bit entertaining. So you can see here by lap 11, everyone's made their pit stops. We're up to P2. Sebastian Vettel has pulled out a monstrous lead. Hamilton pulls to the right-hand side. Raikkonen gets a double toe of slipstream down the inside into the left-hander. Is Kimi going to be able to make the move? Stick. We go 3 wide through the corner. Push Hamilton out wide on the traction. Kimi's on the ultra-soft, so Ferrari have split the strategy. He's unable to keep it round the outside of Hamilton through the stadium section. So as such, Hamilton still in P2 there, and at the end of lap 12 we're coming in to make our pit stop, one and only pit stop to the soft compound tyre. That's going to release Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Raikkonen and pretty much the whole train of cars behind me. So let's see how that shakes out later on in the Grand Prix. I've had my fun. I'm coming in. Bottas is on the soft compound tyre, so both top teams splitting their strategies. One car on a 2-stop, one car on a 1. We've saved our fuel quite nicely. That fuel consumption upgrade, not doing a huge amount lap by lap, but over the course of a race, I'm definitely going to see some improvements. 2.2 by the McLaren boys. We come out now in 12th, just ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. Carlos Sainz is on the super soft tyre, so you can assume he's going to be making another pit stop in this Grand Prix. So it's now just about keeping our head down, doing the laps, and making sure that we are consistent, and hopefully we should find ourselves in a points-paying position. But Hulkenberg's got some excellent straight-line speed here near the end of lap 16, near the second sector. I've left him a lot of room. He's been able to get excellent traction, but that puts us to the inside of the right-hander. Take it nice and slow. Try and push him out wide. He can't quite get the traction to put alongside us, and come the left-hand kink there. He was just out of position, unable to get through. Back end went sliding through the right-hander, and then Pascal Wehrlein unfortunately has to retire from the Grand Prix. So I'm unsure if that's going to... actually, that's probably going to hinder us. Any cars that hadn't pitted as of yet are going to come in and essentially get a free pit stop. You heard Jeff just there say that Fernando had come in, so that's going to allow him to put on another set of super soft tyres and run to the end of the Grand Prix. So I believe we're going to get ahead of Sainz just here, but Alonso, cheekily enough, is going to come out ahead of us. He probably would have done so anyway, but the safety car pretty much guaranteed it, where we had to stick to that delta time. So now we're at the status quo where we're at the start of the Grand Prix. The two Force Indias in 7th and 8th, the two McLarens in 9th and 10th. Here we go. And I basically want to finish ahead of Fernando here. He's going slow into the final corner, leaves the door open. I say thank you very much. I'm a little bit bold in my move, pushed him out a little bit wide. He did lose out to Hulkenberg as well, so I'll hold my hands up. Sorry, Fernando, but you're a racer. You can get back past him. And now Hulkenberg up into 10th. We're up to 9th. Both Force Indias still ahead of us. We've got 8 laps remaining. Let's chase them down. By lap 21, I'll be honest, the car... I have no idea why this was the case. I had pace all of a sudden. It made no sense. I don't know what the safety car did to the AI or what it did to my pace, but all of a sudden, Perez was not like a second a lap faster than me. I can't recall if he had an issue or not, but even if he did, the cars ahead of him haven't exactly just disappeared light years up the road. So here we go into the hairpin. Can we make a move on Perez? Cautious under braking, so I don't want to go ploughing into the back of the Force India, but we take a tighter line on exit. Perez has, of course, got more engine power than us, so he's going to pull away a little bit. Can we get any kind of slipstream as we head down there? We're just probably getting the tiniest morsel of slipstream as we go towards the left-hander. Not going to be able to make a move from this far back, but Perez is locked up. I think, I assume that was smoke coming out off of the tyre because he was very slow through the corner. That means we have to take the outside of the right-hander at the start of the third sector through the stadium section. That's put us to the inside, hang Perez out to dry on the double left-hander, and that is us back up into 8th place. And now we can try and chase after the pack ahead just there. And it looks as if there is one car causing some problems. It's Sebastian Vettel has retired from the Grand Prix. So after all the work we did with Lewis Hamilton holding him up, Vettel has retired from the lead, which was a little frustrating there, considering I just wanted to hamper Hamilton, but he's now regained the lead. It's actually Valtteri Bottas causing a bit of a train as we move on to lap 23. You can see here that we've closed up to him. By further in the stadium section, Raikkonen has managed to get through, and then you've got Verstappen and Ocon chomping at the bit to try and get past him. Meanwhile, Perez is really slow, so he's dropped off the back of myself and is forming a bit of a train himself while we're cruising up behind these three. Let's see what we can do into the final corner. All the cars just sort of weaving over the road. We're going to take the outside line. That's not going to help us get around that corner. It's probably going to give us the best exit, though. Verstappen, Ocon, and myself are all going to have DRS into turn 1. We're up to rich mixture. What's going to happen into turn 1? We're going to take a look. We're going to hit the brakes nice and late, and it's a triple overtake with slight wheel banging with Valtteri Bottas, but we're going to plunge it down the inside. Well, we have plunged it down the inside. None of them were looking in their mirrors. None of them were prepared to cover the inside, and that's us ahead. And Bottas stayed ahead and kept the field backed up. Now onto lap 25, we've got a yellow flag in turn 1. There's a car off. Kimi Raikkonen's backing into the barrier. Not entirely sure what happened there. I know he was battling with Lewis Hamilton. I only got the tail end of it here. And you can see Raikkonen spinning off there. So was there contact with the Mercedes car? On board with Hamilton says, yes, there was. Hamilton's front wing got caught under Kimi's rear wing as Hamilton was trying to straighten up. And that caused the back end of the Ferrari to spin out. Here it is in slow-mo. Kimi clearly the car with the advantage here. You just see the rear wing get caught on the front wing. Hamilton straightens up. Raikkonen spins out. Hamilton up into P2. Raikkonen tries to catch it, applies too much steering, and he's on the grass. Overcooks it. Comes back out onto the racetrack, which if there was anyone coming out of turn 1 would have had to have had pretty lightning quick reactions. Thankfully, he's able to pull off, and there we go. up into third place. And that is how the race ended. Raikkonen dropped down the field. Ocon eventually got past the slow Bottas, but we are going to come through for a very surprising podium.
All your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
So there you have it. Daniel Ricciardo, of all people, wins the United States Grand Prix. Hamilton second. We come home in a very surprising third place after everything that happened from 13th on the grid then. Ocon and Perez for the Force Indias, 4th and 5th. Very strong showing for them. And Hulkenberg then 6th. Magnussen, Kvyat, Massa and Verstappen round out the top 10. Alonso disappeared off the face of the planet, apparently. He finished 16th after 3 pit stops. Raikkonen had 3 pit stops and Bottas plummeted down the field to 15th. So that puts us 4th in the driver standings. We are tied with Kimi Raikkonen. So he is our direct competition for the rest of the season. Sebastian Vettel has dropped off there a little bit. Alonso down to 10th, but, you know, I'm fairly confident he's going to bounce back and have a good performance in the final few races of the season. Moving over to the constructors' standings, McLaren are solidified in 3rd place. Red Bull are only 53 points behind us, so definitely within catching distance, but I'd like to think that we are going to be able to perform better than them and at least have myself finish above one or at least both Red Bulls for the remainder of the season. But guys, that has been the United States Grand Prix. I do hope you have enjoyed that. Weird one, very weird one, completely off the pace for the first half of the race, and then just issues, retirements after the safety car period allowed us to pick up positions and eventually looked as if we were going to get 4th, and then due to an issue we actually got ourselves 3rd, so not going to complain there whatsoever. And Lewis Hamilton has won, of course, the Drivers' World Championship, but Danny Rick scoring that victory here this weekend. Next up we have the Mexican Grand Prix, a very large straight line, and then a lot of very fast corners. I do enjoy Mexico. I haven't quite nailed down the setup, so the car always feels a bit loose there, but let's see what we can do with that one. I hope you have enjoyed watching. Leave a like if you did, and comment any feedback down below. Remember to subscribe to be notified about content coming to the channel, and I will see you all next time.